happening.
What's up, everybody? Hello again, sexy witches. This is your old pal Tequila Joe, and I'm joined by Gwen, our awesome leader from Avalon Visions. This is episode 10 of The Witch's Craft. It's hard to believe we've already done this 10 times. It's awesome. It's awesome, and we want to keep on going. So, we're going to try to keep this one really on point. For this 10th episode, we wanted to do something that was really going to strike quite a few chords, and it's going to strike them pretty hard. Not going to lie. There's going to be a few things that some of you might not agree on. That's totally fine. Some things that, like, maybe you feel like we need to touch on more. That's totally fine as well. That's why we encourage you guys to just drop your comments, and let us know. Let us know how you want us to approach these things. All right. Today's going to be a doozy. So before we get into that, though, Gwen, what have you got going on over at Avalon Visions?
Well, what we're doing is we're basically not even streaming to Facebook today, just so you know. We're streaming this straight over to YouTube, and it'll add out to Facebook in a bit. What we've been doing is we've been doing our groups and classes, always doing that. We have Unclog Your Pipeline to God class tomorrow, and we're not looking at it from a biblical point of view in case anybody sees that on Meetup. That's tomorrow. We did a tarot class this evening. We'll be doing another one, I think, next week on Thursday. We're doing our psychic fair second Sunday of the month, and we have a few other things in between. So, oh yeah, our Qigong class. Don't want to forget that. We have a really good Qigong teacher, and he's here on Wednesdays in the afternoons. I think at 2. It's 1:30 or 2. So we've got a lot going on.
Good.
Awesome, of course, awesome. Great group of readers too. So,
all righty. So that's always awesome to hear. And then you're doing the psychic fair coming up this month.
Yep. That's always the second Sunday of the month. So not in 2 days from now, but the following week, and that'll come out in our newsletter. So yeah. Also, we just migrated our website over to a better server, so it should work a little quicker.
Awesome.
Hopefully that'll be a cool thing. So that's up and running. So yeah, if you were having trouble getting in or going like, what's it doing? It's because we were in the process of moving it. So that's that.
Yeah, and once again, as always, if you guys get a chance to go check out the website, like you heard, we've got new servers, so it should be better, should be much more, efficient. If you guys can still actually make it down there, absolutely, Gwen would love to have you guys. Gwen would love to show you around. She'd love to actually, show you what she's got. Some amazing stuff. So make sure you can get down there. All right. So now, wait, you had something else?
I do. One more thing. I just wanted to point out to the people that are listening that Avalon Visions is the longest operational metaphysical bookstore in Santa Cruz County, and probably in this little Bay Area of ours, because we've been here since 1993. So, and we also have a food cabinet on the side of the cupboard. So if you live locally and you need to put food, you need to get rid of maybe food that you're not eating, don't forget our food cabinet, which is going to come to, I'll mention that again later on when we're talking later on. That's all I had to say about that.
Well, there you go. There you have it. So, alrighty. So if you guys were expecting a complete coverage of the history of Salem, that's not where we're going with it tonight. Gwen's going to talk about some of that history, some of the key points as to why the trials actually happened. But the main point is that we are at a point where all of this is lining up to happen again. We might not see it. Some of us might deny it. Some of us might think, well, it's not that bad. Some of us might think, oh, wow, okay. What do we do to actually protect ourselves? So that's the idea of tonight's topic. So we're not going back through history. We're looking at history compared to what we are going through at this moment. And what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because there's a lot of things, like I said, it's lining up. But at this point, where we have more power, where we have more greater numbers, there's also the fact that we, like it or not, we do bicker amongst ourselves. So that's another thing that we do want to talk about. Like, it's one thing to prepare for this oncoming wave, but if you only have little pockets, little factions, not going to work as well as us working together as a whole. So we'll get into that just a little bit further, but just so you guys know, that's the controversial topic that we're on tonight. So before we get into what's happening with us today, let's take a brief look at what the main points were when the trials actually happened, when you've got some good information on that. What have you got for us?
Well, as you can see, this is the witch trials were in 1690. One of the points that I want to make, and I want to make this point number one there, that at that time, women in Salem were allowed to own property if they inherited it. So what I just want to bring this up here. Most of the people hanged in the Salem witch trials were actually landowners, if they were male for sure, and many women who were widows without a clear male heir were in that group. Once accused of witchcraft, the state would take ownership of all your physical property, and there's a correlation to that. I'm gonna revisit this as to what happened in when the Japanese were put into concentration camps and what will likely happen now. I want to revisit that. I want you to kind of draw a correlation in your mind with this. One of the examples was John Proctor. He was a very successful businessman, and he owned the local pub. He also owned large tracts of land in Salem and Ipswich. And when he and his wife were in jail, his land was seized. The taps at his tavern were emptied. His cattle was sold cheaply and or slaughtered. His children were left with no means of support. And they stole the land partly because the governor had changed voting rights. Remember, this voting rights is an issue right now. It's a hot issue. The governor had changed voting rights in the law so that from those who were members of the church could only vote to those who also owned land and then were able to vote. So one of the contributions that, one of the contributing factors, there wasn't just one reason this all happened, but one of the factors was it was kind of a land and property grab. And how that, correlates, we're going to revisit this as history comes along. And we think this stuff is in the past, but in 1895, I believe it was Poland, You can see that point. That was the last time in Western society. We're not talking about remote third world countries, but in Western society where there was a witch burning. 1895 is less than 150 years ago, and that was in Europe, in Poland. We say one nation under God when we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Most of us are of the generation that know that under God phrase was not added until June 14th, 1954. So my point is, a lot of these same things that are hot button issues are currently hot button issues. Anyway, that's one of my points that I want to make. And of course, women were women, not, and there probably were no witches at the time in Salem. Maybe there was, but how many of them really? Go on, Joe.
I mean, the thing is, that's like you said, that's a major hot issue right now. The fact that you have, number one, a whole lot of land grabs right now.
Yeah.
That's a completely different topic that we can completely talk about. Where we have currently, that I know of, there's at least one major case happening where it's a major land grab.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go into the details. I do not have that authority to go into the details about that right now. But the fact of the matter is that it is happening. So that has not gone away. The fact that all of the religious right are really pushing for all of these different policies that a lot of them really just don't make any sense for humanity.
Nope.
It's all based on what they interpret is their church teachings. So, and that has not gone away. That is still very present, and it's even more prevalent today. So, Gwen, you had a thought on it.
I do. One of the things is that land and power are main reasons for persecution in pretty much any scenario, and with no exception, that was true with the witch trials, which is why I brought that up, because that is a big reason, and it's also power over things. If you can control the land and the income and the voting rights and the people who are able to do these things, whatever they don't want you to do or voice a different opinion, then you have the power. And this is the crux of quite a lot of all of this. But that's
so. And here's the thing. And I laugh about it because it makes no sense, but also it makes sense. The fact that what we're talking about are just the policies that make sense. These are the ones that they're based on some elements, that there's something there that they actually physically want to have. And that's the only way that it makes sense. Does it make sense morally? Absolutely not. Does it make sense socially? Absolutely not. But if you think about that, that is something where somebody stands to actually gain something. So that is more concrete. That's not even covering the other policies that are happening, that are being put into play from people that have absolutely nothing to gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're painting the picture that this is going to be the thing that's going to put this country back into greatness. I'm absolutely not going to use that ridiculous phrase, but that's the point.
I know the one.
Yeah, you know the one.
Oh, yes, I do.
So there's a thing. There's wanting to take land, but also wanting to control what women are allowed to do, what women are allowed to choose for themselves, how women are allowed to choose for themselves what's going to happen with their own health, Where does anybody gain anything from that? Where does anybody who's not a woman gain something from controlling a woman and telling her what she can and can't do? The same thing with people who are, and I am going to go there, people who are trans. What do you gain from telling people that they cannot be what they identify as? Those are the policies, those are the ideals that are coming forth that really have no grounds. They have no concrete, just, I can't even find the word for it. It just doesn't make sense at all. But those are the kinds of things that are coming through. The reason I bring that up is because a lot of our community are LGBTQ. A lot of the community are afraid because, number one, they're minorities. Number two, they're pagans. Number three, they are trans.
Mm-hmm.
Those are three different reasons that right now, where we are, they are fearing for their lives. So that is that's the part where the persecution in our time is actually happening. So and it's really a question of how are we going to work together to combat this. We can work peacefully, and that is the main goal, to do this peacefully. But at the same time, we are seeing that the other side is not playing fair as far as peace. They're attacking people. They've already attacked the minority. They've already attacked genders.
Mm-hmm.
They've already attacked religion. They've already attacked economics, job securities. What is to stop them from coming after us next? So, Gwen, what are your views on that so far?
Well, I wanna point out that we can open our arms wide and embrace people that are not like us. And we can do it on a small level or on a large level. Recently, I lent one of my readers, Anna, the book that I had read when I was a teenager called The Hiding Place. And it was about an individual named Corrie ten Boom. If you never read it, it's out there. It's been out there since the 50s. It's a wonderful book about an actual Christian family in Holland who took in actual Jewish families and hid them in their home behind a false wall. And some of those people survived to the end of the war, even though the Corrie ten Boom's family was arrested. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because hopefully we won't get to that extreme place where we have to hide people. Although I could say with some of the ICE agents, that seems like the new Gestapo. It's a book about that book talked about what real Christian values are, which are not very unlike what the pagan Wiccan values are. It's just not as practiced in your Bible thumping school where it's the born again Christian, the very Christian alternative right Christian view, which is not Christian at all. If you, I mean, what would Jesus do? He wouldn't do that. He'd probably hang out with us. I have that feeling. I had that conversation with someone in high school once too, and I'm 62. I don't care if you know that, but I mean, I remember having this conversation about I don't think he'd hang out with those guys. I mean, literally, I've held that impression for decades, because there's a right thing to do and there is a wrong thing to do. And the right thing to do is to stand up for people that are being bullied and to stand up to people that are bullies. And so we're looking at bullies running the schoolyard, but the schoolyard is Washington, D.C. And and I feel that there's a very big pushback now, because sooner or later I think of it's like Revenge of the Nerds, where the nerds fight back and they win because they're so much smarter. I feel like we're kind of at that Revenge of the Nerds moment where the Democrats are going to have to fight back. I like what Gavin Newsom is doing. I think that's pretty awesome. We're going to have to fight fire with fire, which is kind of, a lot of these things are the principles that we learn in magic. Like, if you're going to have this thing, you have to fight it with this thing. But there is quite a lot of bullying happening now. What I want to do is I want to add this thing here. You can see that there's a number of recent reports. There's an increased aggression in with people that are street preachers. I've seen some of this. We have. I've done a lot of not street fairs, but like New Age fairs, and we have there has been some presence outside them where people protested. Very rare in this area, but not so rare elsewhere. The person that makes the Aura cameras and I have had long conversations about that. We face, like you feel like you can't, the discrimination is you feel like you can't tell people that you're a practicing pagan. Like, I can't really talk about this. I have people come in my store all the time going like, oh, I'm around my people. And they go kind of quietly nutty in front of me because they're so happy that they can actually talk about what's going on with them. We've had to take legal and social challenges. If you think about like how many times the atheists have had to sue because they don't want their kids growing up with prayers. I mean, if you want to put prayer in your school, you want to have that gathering. Well, which God are you going to pray to? That's my question. I vote for Odin. Odin. I mean, I'm being comical here, but it's real. Like, what if you don't pray to the same God? It's not just people being prejudiced against people that are Muslim or people that are Buddhist or whatever. It also pertains to us. The cultural impact of a resurgence in paganism is partly because we can read about it, we can learn about it, we have books, we have an internet, we can access this stuff, whereas before we could not. So now we have to have discussions about it, and we have to, we are challenging the religious norms. I have no problem with two Christians. I think some of them are some of the best people I've ever met, but not what's happening now on a national level, because that's not Christianity. If that was Christianity, none of us would have any problem with it. The factors that are contributing to this massive amount of stuff, that we're really facing a lot of interesting issues. And as I put that up there, I want to note that a simple search online, you'll find a lot of community that you can join, but it's also a lot of times it's not available to rural areas. So that's my take on it. I think I jumped around a bit, but you get my drift.
No. I mean, it's perfectly on point. I mean, that's kind of been my experience as well with people that saw me practicing, my own little rituals right outside, right outside my apartment. All I did was, set up a little one of those little TV trays, put it right up there, had my candles, had my my pentacle, all little like knickknacks that were going to be pertinent to that.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a person who's afraid of expressing that. I mean, even my shirts, you can see that. Yeah. This is comical. This is not necessarily me. Being satanic. That's a totally different thing. We know some Satanists, but and they are great people. They actually are like nice people. But this is just but I am not afraid to express that I am who I am. I practice what I practice. I believe in who I believe in, and I work with whoever is willing to work with me in the moment. But there are others that are absolutely afraid. And I've had that experience where somebody has actually come up to me and said, "Wow," uh, twice actually, that have come up to me and said, "What exactly is it that you are doing? Because it looks like this is a pagan practice, and I'm like really enthralled by it. I really want to know more about it."
Mhm.
And I've never met somebody who's actually practicing and actually like open about it. So there were questions, and that was wonderful. I shared what I knew at the time. So, um, but the story was always the same. It's like I am afraid to actually come out with that, come out of the room closet, as we joke about it, as the way that we call it. Um, but it's for the same reason, because there's going to be judgment in the family. There's going to be judgment in the relationships. There's going to be judgment in the friendships. There's going to be judgment in the workplace, uh, anywhere. Even though our practice can generally be harmless, it's just our connection to whoever we believe in, our connection to, our nature. It's still looked down upon, and so their experiences are going to be extremely vitriolic. It's very rare that they're going to be accepted without explanations, without a lot of time, and so it does happen for the same reasons. It's I mean, the experience does happen for the same reasons that people are afraid. So um, now the question is, what happens when they step into it? But you have all of those other practitioners that are absolutely staunch. It's honestly, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm going to get some flack for this. I really don't care. There are some of us out there who are no better than the Bible thumping Christians that say it has to be this way exactly. You have those. Then you have the others that are uh, trying to gatekeep. They're not allowing certain people to participate in rituals, in activities, because they fear that the other people that are coming in, the ones that are trying to keep out, are going to negatively influence what gets talked about, or that ritual. That is a big no-no, and that does not fly at all. Um, and then you have the ones who want to mask their form of terrorism behind paganism.
Mhm.
You have groups, and we have seen them at certain events. You have certain groups that behave as neo Nazis.
Mhm.
When they're confronted about it, they come forward and say, well, no, we are practicing Norse paganism, we're practicing Germanic paganism. It is neo Nazi bullshit.
There is that. Yeah,
Yes.
there is
So,
that. It's that in every, yeah.
exactly. Um, we talked last week about appropriation.
Mhm.
That's when you're taking a culture that doesn't belong to you. You're taking the customs.
Mhm.
But there are those that are actually attacking people that are just there to practice their own beliefs. And that's where this pagan civil war comes in. And that's something that we really do need to work on. Not everybody is going to have the same belief. Not everybody is going to have the same practice. Not everybody is going to have the same routines. It is up to us to show that we accept each other for our differences. It is up to us to show that we can unite, that we can work together, that we can build far more than what has already been put before us. Can we counter all of these policies, all of this negativity, all of this dogma, all of this what's even the word for it? Can we?
Rhetoric.
Thank you. Yes. Can we counter all of that? Yes, we can. But before we even get to that, we need to show one another as pagans that they have a seat at our table, that they have room in our circle,
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay for them to be who they are, even if they are different from what somebody said is the ultimate practice. Doesn't matter. The point is to actually show the Christians that we are actually exemplifying Christianity better than they actually can. That's what's important. And that is why the last point in the description for this podcast was that the time to act is actually now. Not everybody follows not everybody follows the same practice. Not everybody follows the same rules. Not everybody worships the same deities. Not everybody works with the same deities.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. There are gatherings. There are different events that happen. And yeah, some things might get a little wild, and that's wonderful when it's actually a positive experience. But when the negative comes in, that's where it becomes a problem. And that's what we need to actually end. That means that if somebody asks you about your practice, it's important to not gatekeep that from them. It's important to share a little bit, just share whatever you can, but make that person feel welcome. Make that person feel that they can come to you, that they can open themselves up, that they can do the research. And if you can't be the one to explain it to them, show them where they can go. I mean, Santa Cruz has a wonderful community. You have Avalon Visions. You have other shops around the area. If you cannot find something at Avalon Visions, then of course you can go to the other places. You can go to the other people. We have groups like Community Seed, and this is the first time I've actually mentioned it by name, if I remember correctly. That is a wonderful group.
That is
I
a good
encourage you
group.
to look them up.
And
That
they're
is
not alone. And they're not alone too.
they're not alone, but in that area,
Yeah,
that is one of the best, greatest groups that you can actually go to. They will accept you. How do I know that? Because they accepted this brown ass. So they accepted me, a newcomer, somebody who was barely starting out, and they welcomed me and they said, okay, this is great. Here's what we do. We're not a coven, but we welcome people. So there are other groups. If you find yourself in a position to actually give someone a way to start their path, please do so. You guys are wonderful. You guys have a wealth of knowledge. All of our viewers have a wealth of knowledge. Please don't gatekeep. Please do not tell people they cannot come in. Please do not judge them. Please do not tell them that yours is the only way.
Mm.
That is not fair. That is not fair to anybody. So now, what can we do in terms of organization and protection? The best thing to do, once again, protect each other.
Mm-hmm.
Find ways to help one another. And Gwen has this wonderful little closet, and it can be on any level.
Don't
This is
talk
what
about
I'm
my
talking
closet. I might get locked in again.
Not that one. Not that one. I'm sorry. I did not mean closet. I meant the pantry right outside.
I know what you mean.
That's the one I was talking about. So, the one that you do not need a hammer for. Trust me. No. So, even on the most minute scale, there are ways to help each other. And Gwen, right outside of Avalon Visions, has this wonderful little pantry to where if somebody has that basic need of something to eat, it's there. And it's important that we keep on giving to that. So, Gwen, you had a thought.
I have a couple of thoughts. One, I do have a little food pantry, and I'll just elaborate on that. It's supported by anybody local. I do have somebody that comes and cleans it once a week, and we try to keep it stocked. But if you're out in the Santa Cruz SoCal area and you've got extra food, please put it in your closet. It may not in your closet, in our food cabinet, because it does go to people that literally live on the streets and cannot be somewhere across town to go pick up a bunch of, stuff at a somewhere else. And this is supported by pagans. I and non-pagans. It's supported by local people. One thing I was gonna mention about your shirt earlier, I kind of didn't want to forget that. Pentacles could be worn right side up or not right side up. And just because a pentacle is being worn not right side up does not entirely make it absolute that person is practicing Satanism. Like, if you got to drain off negativity, that is one way to wear it, to remove negativity. And that is obviously a cartoon. So, if you're standing there worshiping Satan, oh, sorry, I'm trying to immerse church lady, then you might, that might be the direction you put that, because it's, turning certain values upside down and maybe trying to raise up negativity. I don't know. But that's not you. So, and I'm impressed that you're wearing it.
Honestly,
right behind him. Could you duck a second and just show the pentacle that's behind you?
Yeah,
right side up. There you go.
It's right side up.
This is
I'm literally this shirt. I could not resist it. I don't wear the pentacle upside down, but I mean, it's an angry little cat, and it says, "Don't make me hex you."
It's cute.
So
it's
cute. I am surrounded by cats. I love cats, and just one that is like super powerful and like really cute and angry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I mean,
that's your cat speaking. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah. No, I get it. And then what we were talking about is what to do to, gather. I have, and I'm going to reiterate this. If somebody out here wants to use my space to sign petitions or whatever, in the back we have a group room, I am totally okay with that. I have no problem with somebody deciding that that's what they want to do, and starting doing mail outs or a mail campaign or whatever. I thoroughly think that one of the other things is there's a lot of pagans in groups like indivisible.org. There's a lot of pagans that are now going, have joined the Democrats, and you have to form coalitions. Maybe you don't agree with absolutely everything that somebody is saying, but you got to look at the potential to what is more going to allow you to be you than you align with that group. when we moved up the street from Capitola Village, we still are legally Avalon Visions, but we also kind of added Center for Creative Spirituality, because the crux of that is that you get to be you. I'm not going to tell you what you should believe. I'm not going to tell you that you should be a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, a Buddhist, Wiccan, what variety of Wiccan, Odin worshiper, a Sekhmet worshiper, whatever you want, do your thing, you do you. If you want to look up old Egyptian deities, that's great. I mean, I like Sekhmet personally, but there's, I also like Bastet. I like, or Bast, or, there's different ways of there's all kinds of, there's massive amounts of different religions in the world. But the point is, you should be able to do what you want to do as long as you're not hurting anybody. I do not know of any local pagans who have ever hurt a child. I think tends to be something along the lines of what happens in the Catholic Church more. I hear rumors of it, and people think that, because someone doesn't believe like them, that's what they're doing, sacrificing children or something. And I think that's probably not the case. I don't know anybody that does that. Do you, Joe? Never met anyone.
I don't, and I've never met anybody who actually harms animals.
I haven't either. I know there are practices that do that. That's not us. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're held responsible for animal sacrifices. We children. Look, I don't need. I'm a chef. I do not need kids.
They taste good.
I'm a chef. I don't need kids. I do not like my food spoiled. I like it fresh. So, yeah. And I'm certainly not going to go sacrifice my familiar. Absolutely not. She actually really is a demon gargoyle child, but am I going to sacrifice her? Absolutely not. Am I going to work with bones that have already been put out there in nature? Oh, yes. Okay. Am I going to work with feathers that I find? Am I going to work with seashells, anything that's out there that's already been passed on? Of course. But am I going to do anything to harm anybody physically? Well,
it just comes
I'm
back.
I'm saying no, because I am seeing orange, but
oh, well, that's for the greater good.
That is for the greater good. That is for the greater good. That is true.
It's like, fighting a war, that's a greater good thing. And sometimes you just have to, and that might be the only thing that I've been known to like curse.
Yeah, maybe I've been pushing along a little bit, but
yeah.
No. But no. As far as like actually harming children, and that's the thing. That's kind of been something that's thrown me for a loop, because there's always been that stigma. Oh, well, you're in witchcraft. Oh, you must be really harming children. You must be. The thing is, I have seen pagan families that have children, and they are absolutely happy. They're learning about nature. They're learning about energy work. They're learning how to respect. So,
they're spoiled usually too.
Some of them can be, but
I can tell you that you don't hear every, like, one out of every one. I mean, 1,000. There was that one guy that was, that shot up a Catholic church that was messed up recently. Mm-hmm. And they're, oh, look, it's a trans person. Well, okay, how many weren't? How many have there been that have, and one guy, and they've got their excuse. You think about what the numbers are versus the numbers of what you hear in the, but it's so far lopsided the other direction that it's not even close. And we know that kids go to, rituals. We see the kids. Nobody's like dragging them behind an altar, there were, to be fair, my dad used to say that Captain Cook was the first continental meal in Hawaii. He got eaten, but but we did have back in the day, there were people that did sacrifices. Notably, who was it that didn't? It was who was the one that put his child up on the altar, and God said, "Oh, you believe so much that," or so one that. Oh, come on, somebody, the Christian one that he said.
I want to say that was Abraham.
Was it Abraham? I think it may have been, right.
Yeah.
Really, believe me, I used to know that, but
Mhm.
but you think about that, like, okay, why was that important? Well, because the Christians back in the day also did sacrifices,
Mhm.
and so it was not that uncommon to sacrifice an animal, and they were willing to do the firstborn son, and apparently they ultimately did. Yeah, when that I think I know that story. Sorry, I mean, what I'm saying is, if we try to look at where some of these stories, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. We're saying you did it, and you're going like, well, wait a minute, I'm not. I'm just sitting over here on the stove, and you're telling me, you did this. It's witches were typically the people that understood herbs. So if somebody got sick, they might know what herb, including, I think, chicken soup, which is in all cultures, right? Did we talk about that a while ago? I mean, it's we're the ones that used to cure people, and so one of the bad things that happened in when they started going through the Inquisition, they killed all the people that were healers. And so a lot of that knowledge didn't resurface until somewhat more recently, where people kind of dug it out, where, okay, this herb does that. Why? Because take away the power, kill those people. It's pretty dark. And one of the reasons that we started this podcast, this broadcast, is that we talked about this is important that we bring out this kind of knowledge, because we're right at a kind of a tipping point where and I've got to go here, Joe. Right now, ICE agents are being hired. Okay, there's a long line of people waiting to get jobs with ICE, apparently. So they're going to suddenly train all these people, which means they don't have in-depth training. These are people that probably don't understand what they're doing. They're not picking from the creme of the crop, right? And they're going to turn them loose on a national level. And if you don't believe this, you're not watching the news, or you're watching Fox News, or you're watching, you're watching broadcasts that don't know anything.
All of the right-wing stuff. Yeah.
You're watching right-wing stuff. Well, the problem with that is that what you basically have is Gestapo in the making. These are people that don't understand what national police is and why we didn't have this before. We do have a national police force. We did. It was called the FBI, and then you had local control. And this is stuff that we should have some national police that you can track people from state to state. But what is happening now is scapegoating, and that is part of what would happen to witches during persecution. Was if the crops went bad, you find the local healer, say she's a witch, and you scapegoat her. And that is there's a real definition of a scapegoat as something that you put the blame on, and the goat runs away, and that's the goat. That's, I mean, there's an actual. I know we don't have our person, but if you look, our garage goblin isn't with us today. But if you look up scapegoat and you were to research it on the web, it's basically the person biblically, because we're going to go there. It was a goat that was sent into the wilderness after the priest symbolically laid all the sins of the people on it, and it would run off into the wilderness. So now what we have is people that are being scapegoated, and these are groups of people. We're looking at immigrants. We're looking at people that don't look like me, that look like Joe, and
Mhm.
Oh, look, this guy's, he's, Joe, when was the last time that you brought in drugs from Mexico? Uh, uh, don't answer that. No.
Gee, let me think.
Hey, yeah, I just traveled right over the border there. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
That would have been. Oh, I'm sorry. When we brought like cough medicine for.
oh, cough medicine. That's
Yeah.
controversial.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mean, this is it's. I mean, the point is that we know that groups of people are being scapegoated and blamed. Arrest them all, sort them out later. I mean, that's not due process. I mean, you shouldn't be arrested for having done nothing. And this is now happening with sweeps everywhere. And this is going to get real ugly before it gets better. I like what Gavin Newsom is doing. I think the idea of adding a few House seats is probably a good idea. Anything to tip it back so that we can stop this nonsense and the Congress can grow a spine.
And for all of those that are thinking, well, it'll never happen to pagans. It'll never happen. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
yes, it will.
it absolutely will. If
Mhm.
they're already attacking freedom of speech, they're attacking freedom of uh, pretty much anything.
Mhm.
Freedom to gather, to organize. They're definitely going to attack that freedom of religion. That means they're going to lash out against those who are not on their knees in front of the cross and just praying to their sky daddy. They're going to lash out at everybody who is not following them.
Oh, and
That is
Joe,
why,
it's
yes,
the Sky Daddy if they look like me.
that's true. That is true. Yeah,
I mean, your Sky Daddy don't count, dear. You're brown. And that
exactly.
and to me that is the most, like, I mean, yes, I said that, but I'm making a point. I don't believe that. I don't believe that there's a damn bit of difference in my intellect. Well, okay, we look a little different, but that's about where it ends. There are plenty of people that are not white that are at least as smart as me, if not way the hell smarter. You know, I mean, it's like, and I'm not stupid. There's a lot of brilliant people in every single different color pattern or sexual orientation. We wouldn't have ever gone to the moon if it hadn't been for a black woman. I believe that is true because she did the math.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean,
We
you
wouldn't
know,
be communicating. We wouldn't be communicating right now
no,
if
we
it
would.
wasn't for the one who actually created or invented the Wi-Fi, the one who actually like organized the internet, all of that.
Mhm. And we think about this, intellectually we know, but I think a lot of people don't know. I think they just don't get it, or somebody. I know a few people that are right wing, and somebody says, "Well, all those DEI hires, that's they didn't have, it was." In World War II, there weren't any women, and as the DEI didn't happen until after that. Oh, wait a minute. There were no women workers in the factories. There were no, well, there were just white women. I said, no, they weren't. I was like, God, geez, what are you, stupid? Because that's one of the big pushes when things sort of started to getting more equal was during World War II, because
Mm-hmm.
women went and joined the workforce, and white women were not alone. It was women, and women being Black, Hispanic, Native American, white women was started intermingling in factories and going like, oh, that person's normal, gee, I guess I can talk to that colored person that doesn't look like me. I mean, you think about this stuff now, and to the fact that we're having to revisit this in 2025 is like, it's not just annoying, it's horrible. And this,
Yes.
we're looking at Gestapo. This is the Gestapo being formed. Same people.
to bring it back to our people, our community.
Hmm.
I mean, once again, it's up to us to organize, to unite, come together, and protect one another.
Yes, it is.
There are more of us.
Oh, yeah.
There are more of us than there are of them. So, um, are there spells for protection for your family? Yes, we have discussed those, and we'd be happy to discuss those again if that's something that you guys want us to go into. Um, but the key thing is to actually put down our own differences between ourselves, between the coven or the organization that follows this deity and the one that follows that one.
Hmm.
Uh, it's important that we actually just combine everything that we've got. We can win this. We can thrive. We can show everyone a different way. We just need to actually work at that together. Now, um, Gwen, you had a stone of the week to just kind
I
of wrap this up for today.
do, and I'm now seeing the point of it.
Mhm.
Tiger's Eye. We talked about Tiger's Eye for the money spell,
Mhm.
which if you wrapped it, you're getting ready to unwrap it on the 9th. So no, wait, excuse me. I think I have to look at my calendar. Let's see here. The full moon is on Sunday the 7th. So don't forget to unwrap it. I had to check my calendar, which is hanging up there, and it still says August. But I'm not going to I'm not going to change it. Yes, it said August, but it's the 7th of September. So that's when you have the full moon. So Tiger's Eye is something that you can definitely utilize. And I think I'm going to add up an image file so that you can see. This is Tiger's Eye. This is blue Tiger's Eye. I'm going to just bring it up into. This is, oh, nope, that's not the right slide. Hold on here. There we go. This is blue Tiger's Eye, and that one in the back corner is not blue Tiger's Eye, but that's what blue Tiger's Eye. Now, Tiger's Eye in general looks a lot like that. And this here is one of the blue Tiger's Eyes.
Mhm.
This is yellow Tiger's Eye. It's got a little hint of blue in that, but this is your more common colors where it's just sort of two tones. And like here in my store, this is a lovely locally made Tiger's Eye bracelet. What I like about Tiger's Eye, first off, I'm a big cat fan, so the name alone is just like, for me, it's like, oh, Tiger's Eye. I love Tiger's Eye. And I think I have a lot of Tiger's Eye things, but Tiger's Eye, the name indicates that you're looking at strength, right? Tiger is strong. And it kind of looks like a tiger, kind of the stripes of it. It's something that combines earth energy with sun. So you think of it as like kind of almost like a Leo stone. You can put it in your third eye for psychic abilities. And you can also bring up your Kundalini energy, which would be your lower chakras. It's very protective. It was traditionally carried as a talisman for ill wishing and, against ill wishing and curses. And it helps to bring out integrity. And for healing, it's good for night vision. Cats see at night, right? And it's good for throat and reproductive organs. People wear it for pendants. It's supposed to heal feelings of self-worth as well. And it is a balancing stone as well. Gold Tiger's Eye is good for being complacent, like paying attention to things. Red Tiger's Eye, they call that Tiger Iron, and that's something that helps you get up and go, like with circulation. And then the blue tiger's eye is for calming and de-stressing. Hawkeye is really cool. I have a Hawkeye skull, which I really like. And it's also got a lot of blue in it, and it's supposed to help with wealth and health. Um, Again, the money spell is when you wrap the blue tiger's eye this into a with a one of your money around it, and then you tie it off with a green string, and you put it in a green bag, and you place it somewhere, and you let it grow during the waxing of the moon, and then you unwrap it the following like the very next day, and spend it really fast, which is so much fun. And I'm going to do a little bit of that on probably on Monday, actually. Monday, I'm spending my tiger's eye stone money. That's my day of spending. But tiger's eye is a really strong stone for protection and grounding, and it is grounding. And the way you know if it's like, if you hold a stone like this really close to you, if you lean forward, it's good for you. If you kind of tip back, it's not the right stone for you. So you can do that anytime you actually go into a store and buy it. Right now, we do have our website up and running, as I said, and I think that we still have the tiger's eye up for sale. And if we don't, we will have all the crystals. Let's
So
see.
go check it out on your own when you guys have the time to go check out. And
Yeah, they're all on sale still.
yeah.
So
So all right. So I think that's gonna wrap it up. Like I said, this one was a little bit of a sore topic, and I understand. So
mhm.
if there's anything that you guys want us to cover, if there's anything that you feel like we might have misunderstood, might have gotten it wrong, or if there's anything just really that's on your minds, please let us know. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe. Drop in the comments what you guys would like us to discuss. Please give us that feedback that you guys want to give us. Let us know where you want us to take this next. So we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Please stay safe. Please stay safe. And please don't give in. Don't give up. It is not the end of us. It is not the end of us. This is only the beginning. We need to work together and we will beat all of this. I promise you.
And
Love you guys.
I want to add in that all of the back episodes are on our YouTube channel. So if you didn't catch one, you can go back and look at them. And I know that people are, because I'm watching those numbers little by little come up with people catching those back episodes. And some of those will talk about how you can protect yourself and what you can do, and some fun things too. And again, stay safe. Like, I'm out there. I haven't had too much problem. I have had a little bit, somewhere along the line, but I haven't had a whole lot of problems, because if you're public, it's harder to be gone after. If there is real strength in numbers. Communicate with people. You can be a soul practitioner if you want to, and we'll always support you in what you feel like doing. But don't be afraid to, join a group. If it's not the right one for you, just move on, go to a different one, and never do anything you're not comfortable with doing.
There's more of us.
Hmm.
There's definitely more of us.
That there is.
We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Thank you.